All right, hey guys, I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it too. New Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden and Limited list just released yesterday, and I've already taken a look over it, but I kind of want to just share my thoughts with you guys here after taking a day to kind of soak everything in and really get a grasp of what we're going to be seeing for the next couple of months. The new Forbidden and Limited list goes into effect April 1st, which also marks the start of the new Master Roll coming in. This new Master Roll means, of course, you can X, Y, Z Synchro Fusion all in the main deck monster zones. You no longer have to summon to the extra deck monster zone or linked zones for these things. I'm pretty sure it still applies for Pendulum monsters though. But hey, huge step. A lot's going to change in the game because of it. And with that, a lot of precautions had to be taken with this list to account for the fact that these mechanics get a huge boost again. Before we go over this, I real quickly just want to say that Optimal Apparel has launched Wave 2 of designs. The first sports a toon rendition of one of the most powerful Link monsters in the game right now, Appaloosa. And the second one is actually the one I'm wearing right now, which I collaborated with a well-known creator. You probably heard of this guy before. His name is Ruggles. Ruggles is an incredible content creator that I look up to myself, but he is also a gifted artist, and he actually painted the back of this shirt, which is Demise of the Land in his own rendition, and oh my god, it came out absolutely gorgeous. I cannot be happier with how these designs came out, and I need to give a huge shout out to Ruggles for making this design in particular happen. If you guys haven't checked him out, I'll leave his link down in the description below for you to check out his channel. If you haven't seen his channel, I literally don't know what you're doing. You're missing out on some of the most high quality Yu-Gi-Oh content around. Definitely give him a shot. Hit him with a subscribe. Tell him that Nim Nim sent you. Links to all that will be down in the description below if you guys want to check those out. But with that being said, let's go real quick over the new Forbidden and Limited list. One thing that I have to preface before actually speaking about this list is that it goes into effect April 1st. And as you can see, the next update after this will be no sooner than June 1st, 2020. One thing we have to remember is that the game is like technically on a standstill until like May. So we very well might be entering one of the most least played formats in the game, as I don't think right now we have any like confirmation that there will be any competitive play under this. While this whole pandemic stuff is going on right now, nobody knows what's going to happen, and that unsurety I think shows a lot in this list here. So take it with a grain of salt. I will go over some things that I think they missed with this list, but you only have to deal with it for approximately a month before these problems will presumably get fixed. Into the cards themselves. The first card, we have Blackwing Steam the Cloak, which has gone to 0 from 3. This can also be lumped into another card, which is Glow Up Ball, which has also gone from 3 to 0. Hold on. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. Never even got a chance to play this. So these two cards have been put to 3 to 0, presumably because they are one card Crystron Halki Fibraxes. With the release of Dual Overload, we get our hands finally on Halki Fibrax, but to trade for that, we have to get rid of two of the best tuners, which is Bulb and Steam the Cloak. However, there are plenty of options still available for use. There is still Mecha Phantom Beast O-Line that you can play. There's still Jet Synchron. Tons of options if you want to be able to play the card. However, it's going to be a lot less splashable, as these were two of the easiest tuners to be able to play. I know a lot of people were predicting these cards would get hit prior to the release of Halki Fibrax to company for it. I was holding out hope that maybe we'd have chance to play with it for one format, but I guess not. Destrudo the Lost Dragon's Frisian has gone from 3 to 0. Another incredible and flexible tuner. This card's not only great for making Halki Fibrax if you want to, but it's also just great in the Dragon Link deck. Now they're going to have to deal without it. I don't think they're going to have a really reliable way to make Borreload's Savage Dragon. However, I do think this deck is still going to be a little bit scary, as I don't believe there's anything else on this list that actually was hit from that deck. However, Destrudo to 0, big hit, actually. I'm surprised to see this thing finally topple down. One less tuner we have to worry about. One of the big ones is Lunalite Tiger going from 3 to 0. I will never forget the first time I sat across from a Lunalite player and he looped a Tiger 4 times in one turn. I said, hey man, that's pretty good. And he said, you're damn right it is. I think it was on the border of just straight up being abusable, with cards like Zephyros being able to bounce it back and just being able to use the effect again, while also simultaneously getting a free dude on the board. Lots of plays were enabled by the fact that this card was not a hard once per turn, and I definitely think even just putting it at 1 would not have done the trick. Having it at 0, I don't want to say Lunalite's completely dead, but I believe it's on its way there. This is just such an integral card for the archetype. I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to recover from it. And then Spiral Master Plan, getting the axe from 3 to 0. Spoiler alerts, Spiral Drones is now back from 1 to 3, but I don't think it makes a big deal. Without Master Plan, the abusable plays with Spowl are no more. Literally all the ridiculous combo plays you just cannot do anymore because there is no master plan. Magician Soul is not nearly as a usable card in that archetype. I don't think it's usable at all, quite frankly, actually. So this is a big hit. I don't think Spowl is coming back from this one. Maybe somebody will prove me wrong, though. Double Helix is a hell of a card. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes it work, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody can make it work either. Very short list of banned cards there, but I think a lot of really justified good hits. Moving on to the limited cards, we have Danger Jackalope and Danger Tsuchinoko both going to 1 to pair with their brother Danger Nessie. Nessie went to 1 in the last list and I was kind of upset, but it made a lot of sense. And then Danger Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, I think people have to remember that the entire Danger package literally just consisted of these 3 cards because of how powerful they were in comparison to the rest of them. Although I do think the Dangers in general are just some of the best extenders in the game, being able to replace themselves and also put a body on the board, also simultaneously having effects that if they get discarded are really, really good. These ones were definitely the cream of the crop and the only ones you would play if you were going to play him at all. I do think people will still try to make this engine work. Mothman's a pretty good suitor to be able to throw in there as well. One of the better ones. We got to remember Bigfoot is still a pretty good card too. A lot of the Dangers, don't count them out. They're still very powerful. And I think if somebody needs extenders, they're still going to be the good go-tos. ABC Dragon Buster has gone from 3 to 1. One of those precautions we were talking about with the new Master Roll. I guess they kind of thought with Union Carrier being released, maybe they see something we don't with ABC. I personally don't think ABC was that oppressive from what I've seen before, but again, maybe they see something we don't, and it has gone to 1. The only reason I can think of it is, again, a precaution for the new Master Rule. We'll see how it pans out. I could easily see this card, if ABC just doesn't perform, I could see this card coming back to multiples, but right now, looking at 1, I am highly doubtful that people are going to try to hop on the ABC train to make it work. Sorry, Calvin Tahan. Now's not your time to come back to the game. Moving on, we have TG Hyper Librarian to 1, as well as Trishal, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Again, more of those precautions that we want to talk about. Drawing your entire deck with TG Hyper Librarian might be a thing that's plausible. With it at 3 especially, that would have been absolutely scary. Having it back to 1, I think people are going to try to tone off that gas a little bit. Those Quasar decks may not be as good as people thought they were. Trishal back at 1-2. Nobody's getting hand looped for 3. It's another reason that Omega's at 1-2. So I'm okay with both of these hits. I am pretty sure somebody would find a way to abuse these synchros if it were possible. Anybody that wanted to defend Trishal remaining at 3, just wait until you get hand looped for like 3-4 cards. You'll be saying something different. Every time there's a hand loop in the game that's degenerate, nobody likes it. It just doesn't make the game fun for anyone. So I'm not surprised to see these cards go back to 1. Sorry if you were hoarding up on ulti Trishalas. Yikes. Totally Awesome goes to 1. This one blew my mind. I totally thought this card would just stay at 3 and maybe we'd see Paleozoic pop up a little bit. But hey, I guess we're just not that lucky. I know this one has confused a lot of people and it's confused me too. I didn't expect to see this card get the axe. But I guess Konami sees something we don't again, and maybe this card's just a little bit too good under the new Master Rule. One of the most surprising things, Dryden is back, baby. Dryden, Zodiac, Dryden. But don't get too excited. It doesn't come without a cost. Zodiac Barrage has also gone to 1. I hear a lot of people want to make Zodiacs work with Dryden at 1. And it very might be possible, but I want to remind people that one of the main things that made Zodiac oppressive was Broad Bull being a card. Dryden's a crazy card, it's awesome and everything, but Broad Bull being able to detach a card immediately to not only search any Beast Warrior, but also get a Zodiac into the graveyard so you're able to bring it back with Shakanine is part of what made it really fucking good. So under the new Master Rule with Shakanine and everything, you're still not going to be able to make those absolutely ridiculous turn 1 plays, but if you're going second, now you can, I guess, pop a card with Dryden, get that card in the graveyard, and start comboing. Again, I think we're reaching a little bit too far because we have to remember Barrage, which I think is one of the greatest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Even if it's just tied to a specific archetype, its design's absurd. That card's at 1 now. I think Dryden is great. I've been waiting for this card to come back personally, but I think the cost of putting Barrage back at 1, I think it pretty much makes the idea of Zoo still just a fantasy. But hey, maybe somebody will prove me wrong. There, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody proves me wrong. Instant Fusion has gone to 1. This was fully predicted. I definitely saw this coming. It's going to be weird to see if anybody wants to make this work. I don't know what deck can actually just play Instant Fusion off the bat now, or what deck would want to, because now you have to dedicate extra deck spots for those targets. But with the 1 Instant Fusion you have, Are you really going to want to waste those extra deck spots? Something tells me no. Absolutely was expected though. I think with the new Master Rule, a lot of people would have been actually hopping on the Millennium Eyes boat and playing Instant Fusion. You could have a Call by the Grave, and Millennium Eyes is just another Call by the Grave on its own. Pretty good card, and the fact that you're not forced to put it in your extra deck monster zone means it can stay up while you do all the rest of your combos. Not surprised to see this card as one, and I definitely don't think people will try to play it, especially because you'd have to dedicate the extra deck slots to making it work. Mind Control has gone from 2 to 1. I'm pretty sure the history of this card has gone from 1 to 2 to 3, and then back to 2, and back to 1. I'm surprised it took them this long to revert it. I think Mind Control has always been an above average card, and I think with the new Master Rule, it might have gotten a little bit better. Again, we're going to be seeing decks with Synchroing, decks with XYZing, and now that you don't have to commit to your extra deck monster zone, it frees you up to be able to make a little bit more different plays, and maybe that made Mind Control a little bit better. Maybe that's what they were predicting. I could see it, and I definitely think this is a justifiable hit to put it back to 1. Moving on to the semi-limits, we have 2 new additions. We have Malicious going from 3 back to 2, and Widow Anchor going from 1 to 2. Malicious had a very short-lived time at 3. Hero players are probably weeping right now. I'm personally weeping. One of my favorite engines, Dark Warrior, just got a little bit worse. I was so excited to see Malicious back at 3. I was playing the heck out of it. I was loving it. But back at 2 now, it really deters me from ever wanting to play that engine again until it comes back to 3. I don't think Malicious was insane at 3, but it was above average, and now we have to see it back at 2. And unfortunately, I think that makes the card like near unplayable again, unless you want to play the 2 to be able to get 1 out of a deck. It's just not the same. And then we see Widow Anchor go to 2. I literally just don't even want to address this with Engage still banned. It's just, there's no hope. And moving on to cards that have been removed from the Forbidden and Limited list, we have the biggest thing of the list, in my personal opinion. Deep Sea Diva has gone from 2 to 3. I was saying on stream that I think this is the biggest thing of the list. Not only is there new Diva support right around the corner, but also Mermail's still pretty okay list. We only have one totally awesome, but we still have Bahamut Shark, and this deck can easily make Bahamut Shark. And now with Diva at 3, that is 3 more incredible openers to be able to draw. Let's remember, Diva gets Neptibus, and Neptibus gets your plays rolling. Personally, with the new Diva support right around the corner, and Mermail still being a very, very good contender, I see this being the most impactful thing of the list. Moving into the new Master Rule, I'm very excited to see what people do with Diva at 3, and I'm very, very sad to see what the champion pack prices are, because I definitely wanted to pick those up. Whoops. Necroface has gone from 2 to 3. Your guess is really as good as mine of how good that will be. Probably not good at all. And then last but not least, we've got Pot of Avarice going from 1 to 3 in the matter of a list. The trial run with Avarice at 1 really wasn't as impactful as they like to think, I guess. Putting it back at 3 is an extreme jump, but I don't think there's really many decks that can take full advantage of having the card at 3. Potentially shuffling back your Halki Fibrax engine over and over again doesn't sound too terrible. It doesn't seem too hard to load up your graveyard with 5 cards, and if you're shuffling back 5 extra deck monsters, you're essentially just drawing 2 cards deeper into your deck. I won't be surprised if somebody finds a way to abuse this, but with the card at 1, nobody really wanted to commit to play it because sometimes it would be completely dead in your opening hand. We'll see with due time, though, if people choose to play it at 3. Altogether, I do feel they missed a lot of things with this list, but again, we have to remember that this is a very short-lived list. This list is only going to be realistically active for about a month if we have any competitive play tournaments then, and I believe you'll be seeing a lot of decks like Orcust, Shaddoll Invoked, as well as Salamangreat, 3 of the decks that almost completely just dodged the list. Mystic Mine, it baffles me that this card just continues to evade the ban list. I'm not excited to play under another format of Mystic Mine. I really, really hope with the next list they consider banning the card. It's just not a fair card. I don't think it promotes very entertaining strategies to play against. I do think it really dilutes the competitive environment. I really hope that card gets hits next list. Artifact Scythe is another card that I think should have been considered for a ban. That card is definitely oppressive. You're going to be seeing a lot of Buster Whelp lock with Union Carrier, and if you thought Buster Whelp lock was bad, Scythe is just as bad, and it's more splashable. I think a lot of this format is just going to be consisting of making boards that are genuinely unbreakable, or just locking your opponent out of playing basic necessities of the game. Cards like Mystic Mine, like the Infinite Thunderbird lock with the Link Dude, Carrier lock. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this format stacks up, and it's also going to be interesting to see if we actually get to see any competitive play with it at all. In the meantime, I'm going to try to remain optimistic. People always find points to complain about formats, but I do think with due time, people will solve this format and it'll be just as enjoyable as any other format in the game. Altogether, anything that gets me playing more Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm all for. But let me know what you guys think of the new Forbidden and Limited list down in the comments section below. I'm actually very curious if people enjoy this list, they don't like it. How do you feel about competitive play in the future? You think we're going to actually have any events under this list? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. If you realize that you really want to play Zodiac and just don't have your Drydens, you can use my TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below to purchase cards that you may not have. I get a little cut. It requires nothing of you, and it helps support the channel. Again, check out Optimal Peril Wave 2. Very happy with all these designs. Thank you to Ruggles. Thank you to Kraus Illustrations for making both of them possible. I'll have links to those down in the description below too if you guys want to check them out. Right, that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening to me ramble. I will catch you guys in the next video later this week. It will be the 3v3 Las Vegas vlog from a while ago. I just haven't gotten around to posting it yet. It is very good. I'm very excited to share it with you guys.